Welcome back, designers. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you very briefly how to use some of the healing tools you're accustomed to, in addition to the Liquify filter, so that we can transform an image of a person and make them look completely different. For reference, I'm going to be using this picture of yours truly, your beloved teacher, Mrs. Abaya. But you guys are going to use the images provided for you in your assignment template. To get started, I'm going to zoom in on my image. And the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to change my eye color. So before I start playing around with the Liquify filter, I'm going to do some changes using a combination of my healing tools, a color replacement tool, and other tools that you learned how to use last year. I'm going to select the color replacement tool to start with. And I think what I want to do is I want to make my eyes look more green. So I'm going to select an intense green. I'm going to increase the size of my brush. And using the color replacement tool under tool number 9, I am going to just click and work on making my eyes a little bit greener. Now, obviously, you guys can go a little bit more subtle than I did. I just wanted to go extremely dramatic so that you guys could be able to see the difference. I'm going to do the same thing to my other eye right over here, using the same exact tool. Click, and it's going to apply it directly to the eyeball. Now I can obviously go in and change some of these areas that I went over by going with my tool number 11, my history brush tool. I'm just going to go and decrease the size of my brush and painting over the areas that I shouldn't have replaced the color for. So areas going into my lid and so forth. I can just go and replace them using history brush so that it doesn't look silly. So if I zoom out, this is what the image looks. I look like the Hulk, but it looks kind of cool in my opinion. So I can also go in and do the same thing for my lips. Let's say I want to give myself a very dramatic lip. I can zoom in all the way, use my color replacement tool. I think I'm going to give myself a very pink lip, like Barbie pink, and paint over the lips. I can also make it a little bit easier on myself actually by using my selection tools first. I'm just going to use my quick selection tool, which you guys know is tool number 4. Now it's tool number 4. It used to be tool number 3. And I'm just going to make a rough selection of my lips first. And having made that selection, I can now go in with my color replacement tool, and it's not going to go outside of the boundaries of the selection. Of course, it looks a little choppy, so then I can go in once again with my history tool, not the eraser tool, mind you, the history tool. We know we never use the eraser tool in this class, but with the eraser tool, I can basically go in and make edits to the edges so it doesn't look so jagged. Now you guys are going to be a lot more careful than I'm being. I'm just kind of showing you for the purposes of the demo how to do it, but I expect you guys to be a little bit more careful than I'm being, making selections and going and restructuring the face as I'm about to show you later. So that's what it looks like with my Hulk eyes and my bright pink lipstick. You can also go in and change imperfections on the person's face. Now, of course, I have no imperfections. I'm so full of myself. But I can use the spot healing brush tool to, for example, get rid of some of my acne scars or uh, some of my wrinkles or some of my freckles that you guys see here. So I have a freckle right here on my chin. Using the spot healing brush tool, I can just go and click and get rid of it, as well as any other imperfections I might find. So I have right here a little acne scar. I can click, get rid of it. And as you know, Photoshop is just going to clone the texture and the color of the skin underneath it to basically go over some of those imperfections. So if you guys are working with an image of someone who's extremely freckled or has a lot of acne or has wrinkles or other imperfections you may want to go and get rid of, you can certainly go and do so using your healing tools. So here I have a little wrinkle caused by my eye makeup, so I am going to go in and use maybe my patch tool to get rid of it, and let's see how that looks. All right, pretty good. You can't see it anymore. Having made corrections to the healing tools, I'm now ready to use my Liquify filter. But I'm going from destructive editing to non-destructive editing by right-clicking on my layer, and I'm selecting Convert to Smart Object. And what this will allow me to do is easily go back and forth by making any layers that I make with the Liquify filter separate from the original image. So it allows me to correct my mistakes easier by having a separate layer. So I right click, select Convert to Smart Object in the Layers panel. I'm going to go to the Windows menu at the top of my workspace. Oh, I'm sorry, not Windows. I'm going to go to the Filters menu at the top of my workspace. I'm going to select Liquify. And Liquify does some really trippy effects. You can use Liquify, for example, to warp an image, make it look completely unrecognizable, or you can use it for slightly more subtle effects by selecting the face tool, and the face tool will basically allow you to go and resize eyes, lips, nose, make them wider, make them shorter. So I have kind of an elongated face, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size of my forehead. You can see from the original to the reduced size, making me look a little bit more aesthetic. Likewise, you can see with the eyes, I can make them look larger, more anime style, by going and adjusting the eye height, the eye width. I'm going to do the same thing for this side. It might start looking a little goofy, but that's okay. I just want to show you guys how you can use this tool. I can make myself smile or not smile by selecting the mouth width, selecting the mouth height, and making myself have fuller lips. Forcing myself to smile even more, looking really creepy here. Adjusting the width of my nose, making my nose more petite or wider. I'm going to go with a more petite. And adjusting even further any of these settings by going under Face Aware Liquify in the Properties panel to my right-hand side and adjusting things like eye distance, for example. Like if I want to put more distance between my eyes versus less distance. So let's say I want to give myself more distance. Adjusting the nose height, making it shorter, longer, depending on what it is that you want to do. I already forced myself to smile. Let's say I wanted my lower lip to be more noticeable versus less noticeable. I already adjusted my forehead to make it a little bit smaller. I can adjust my chin to make it shorter. It's looking so goofy. To make it shorter or to make it longer. Adjust my jawline to make it thicker or make it thinner. And adjust the overall width of my face. Once you feel like you have transformed the person's face sufficiently, you can click OK and save your changes. Now, the great thing about having converted this to a smart object is that now, if we may have any regrets, we can literally just click the eyeball icon on the layers panel and we can make all those changes go away. But you can see how drastically I changed the image here, making myself look more like a caricature than a person. So you guys can go subtle if you want to, or you guys can go extreme like I was going to, making myself look like a caricature. You guys are going to do so for each of the images provided for you in your template. And you guys are going to export your final draft as a multi-page PDF. Hit me up if you have any questions, but I hope you enjoyed this short tutorial to give you an overview of how you guys are going to approach this particular challenge. Peace out.